All right, first and foremost, we give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world calls Christ, Yahweh Shai. We want to say Ashar Kadash and Shabbat Shalom to YASHARAHLA. This is a new month. New month here. I'm Chief Priest Alazar Baloy, aka Guerrilla Hebrew.
This is the brother Hassan.
So yeah, it's a new month. We follow, for those of y'all that aren't familiar, we follow a lunar-based Sabbath. So this is one of the months, throughout the year where our Sabbath is in fact Friday to Saturday. So it correlates with those of our other brothers who keep what they call the seventh day. So all praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Hold on. I want to make sure. I hope y'all enjoyed the uploads we put out earlier, both on this channel and on SICARRI Public Enemies, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. So all praises. Yeah, as y'all know how we do on the typical Shabbat service, we go over some prayers, we go into the Torah, and then we finish with some prayers. Typically, tonight ain't no different through the spirit. Do the same thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get started with the prayers. We're gonna rise and face the east. All right. Shalakia. Barakatah Yahweh. Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Ha-ha-wa'ah. Nathana-nawa. Shabbat. All right. So now we're going to go ahead with the Lord's Prayer officer.
All right.
Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakwathka. Taba'ah. Ratazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashamayim. Nathanawa. Lacham. Kalyawam. Wasalaknawa. Kabawathnawa. Kasalaknawa. Kabawathinawa. Wala'ah. Thabiyanawa. Banasayawan. Abal. Hawashinawa. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwath. Wa'ala. Watha'aparath. Wa'awalamyam. Aman. All right, we're going to do the number 6 prayer. Yabaraka Yahweh. Washamarka. Ya'ar. Yahweh. Panyawa. Ayaka. Wayakanka. Yasha. Yahweh. Ba'Hashem. Yahweh Shai. Ayaka. Washama. Salakia. Wayasham. Laka. Shalom. Now we're going to do the Shema. Shema. YASHARAHLA. Yahweh. Allah Hayanawa. Yahweh. Achad. Shema. YASHARAHLA. Yahweh. Allah Hayanawa. Yahweh. Achad. Shema. YASHARAHLA. Yahweh. Allah Hayanawa. Yahweh. Achad. All right. Now we're going to bless the Torah. Barakatah Yahweh. Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Ha-ha-wa'ah. Nathana-nawa. Ha-tha-wa-ra. All right, now we're going to get into the Torah reading. Through the spirit. We're going to bounce around a little bit because just if y'all is not familiar with how we typically do the Torah readings, we got our Torah portion and we got our history portions, right? So part of the Torah we go over in the history, the historical part, the part that's telling us the story, we go over in the history. As far as the law part, that's what we go over in this class on the Shabbats, on the Sabbath. And we stick to, if anything is getting into depth on how to perform a sacrifice, we may not go into that. We go into the more practical things that we're applying, that we have the ability to apply absent standing temple. So that's typically what we go over. So we're going to be bouncing around a little bit. We're going to go to Exodus 25. We're going to read Exodus 25, 1 to 9 first. And then we'll be jumping to Exodus 31. Then we'll be jumping to the book of Leviticus. So I hope y'all stay with us here. So go ahead.
This is Exodus chapter 25, verse 1. It says, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly. With his heart he shall...
Right, so that of every man that giveth it willingly, right? So this is what you call a free will offering, right? So this particular offering is not an offering that is, something that's as defined as others, right? That are obligatory. This is the Most High testing you out to see what you're made of and what you freely and willingly are going to give of the substance that He's blessed you with, right? Read on.
God says, With his heart ye shall take my offering, and this is the offering which ye shall take of them, gold and silver and brass.
So what is this offering of what?
Gold and silver and brass.
So you have people who go, man, these offerings, these tithes, there was never money, right? You have people who do that because we know that the Christian church has stolen the concept of tithes and hijacked it as a way to make them filthy, rotten, stinking rich, i.e. sneakers and preachers on Instagram, right? But in fact, yes, money and tithe, this was offered. It said, read it again.
It says, And this is the offering which ye shall take of them, gold and silver and brass.
So money would be offered. So that's not something that's not in the Bible. All right, just so people can understand it, because you have some Hebrew Israelites that paint a narrative as if that was never in the Bible. No, it's right here. We're reading it, right? Read on.
And blue and purple and scarlet.
Right, these are high-end fashion. Blue and purple and scarlet was high-end apparel in that time, in that region, right? Historically. Read on.
And fine linen and goat's hair.
Go ahead.
And ram skin dyed red. And badger skin and shittim wood.
Go ahead.
Oil for the light. Spices for anointing oil and for sweet incense.
See that? Go ahead.
Onyx stones and stone to be set in the ephod.
Jewelry. Come and donate your jewelry so ephods can be made. Come and donate your high-end clothes so the priests and their families can be clothed. Come and give your money so they can have money. This is what it's saying. But this is what you would call free will. These are what free will offerings were, right? So these particular things, the Most High wanted to see what you were made of and what you were going to give, right? Read on.
It says, And in the breastplate, and let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof. So
it's talking about all of Israel funding the building of the temple, right? The actual real building fund. Now the pastor he's collecting money for a building fund, and what's getting built is his house, a mansion for him, right? But this was a building fund that literally went to the funding of the temple in Israel that was going to be built for the purpose of worship, right? So if dudes are talking about they need a building fund, but ain't no building, or they're not trying to get no building, right? They're a liar. They're not improving the building. They're a liar. Point blank period. With the Most High, this is where they get the idea from, right here in the Bible. It is biblical, but they like to take biblical things and they pervert them, right? Read on.
It says, Even so shall ye make it. Let's end on verse 9.
Okay, cool. So now let's go to Exodus 31, and we're going to read 12 to 18.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 31, verse 12. It says, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep.
See that? My Sabbaths ye shall keep. What are we in right now? A Sabbath. We shall keep it. Right? Read on.
For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
Go ahead.
That ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
So a Sabbath is something we have to keep perpetually. Okay, this is not a conditional law. This is not a law that we need a temple to fulfill. We just keep the Sabbath, man. Right? Just like we're doing right now. Okay, go ahead.
It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, And on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
So that was a shadow of the Sabbath. Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moses.
Tahara Ward, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah, Wathawada. Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
Right, so he gave him those laws that were written, that were basically, when they say written with the finger of God, it's dealing with it was engraved. The stone was engraved with the, for lack of a better term, the laser from the chariot, so to speak, engraved that stone, so you can understand. Right, so that was it on 31. Okay, now let's go to Leviticus. Now we're gonna read through these chapters: Leviticus 4, Leviticus 5, Leviticus 6. Right.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 4, verse 1. So it says, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord, concerning things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sin which he hath sinned. Excuse me. It says, a young bullock without blemish unto the Lord for a sin offering.
So it says, if a priest sin, he got to bring a young bullock. Right, read on.
And he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahweh, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head and kill the bullock before the Lord.
He's doing his own. So if the priest sin, he got to come and do his own sacrifice with the bullock. Right, read on.
And the priest that is anointed shall take of the bullock's blood and bring it to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle of the blood 7 times before Yahweh, before the veil of the sanctuary.
Go ahead.
And the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar of sweet incense before the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock for the sin offering, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards. Verse 9. And the 2 kidneys and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver with the kidneys, shall he take away, as it was taken off from the bullock of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar of the burnt offering. And the skin of the bullock and all his flesh, with his head, with his legs, and his inwards, and his dung, even the whole bullock shall he carry forth without the camp unto a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn him on the wood with fire, where the ashes are poured out, shall he be burnt. Verse 13. And if the whole congregation of Israel sin through ignorance, and the thing be hid from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahweh, concerning things which should not be done, and are guilty, when the sin which they have sinned against it is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin.
See that? So we have to notice something, right? We just read, if y'all are paying attention, I hope y'all are, that if a priest sins, he brings a young bullock, right? But then we read, if the whole congregation of Israel sins, a young bullock is brought. Same ritual. But we have a collective of millions of people being held to the same standard as one person. That's the interesting thing about this. It's showing you that if you are in certain positions, you're held to a much higher standard as far as our law is concerned, as far as the Most High is concerned. You're held to an extremely high standard for you to get the same punishment as millions of people. If millions of people doing a sin literally makes that all they got to do is offer a young bullock, but you, just one guy, makes a sin and you only got to offer one bullock, the same type of sin, what is that showing you? That's showing you the type of standard that the priesthood was held to, right? And not just the priesthood. We'll read also in this chapter or around here about the king as well. Same thing, right? So go ahead.
Okay. It says, let me keep going, verse 13. It says, and they have done something against, verse 14. When the sin which they have sinned against it is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin, and bring him before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock before Yahweh, and the bullock shall be killed before the Lord. And the priest that is anointed shall bring of the bullock's blood to the tabernacle of the congregation, and the priest shall dip his finger in some of the blood, and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord.
Look, same ritual, but one was for one individual, one was for the whole nation. Right? Read on.
Even before the veil. And he shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar, which is before Yahweh, that is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour out all the blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 19. And he shall take all his fat from him and burn it upon the altar. And he shall do with the bullock as he did with the bullock for a sin offering. So shall he do with this. And the priest shall make an atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them.
See that? So the same ritual, but one again is for an individual, one is for the whole nation, but the same exact identical ritual, showing the standard that a priest is held to. Right? Read on.
And he shall carry forth the bullock without the camp, and burn him as he burnt the first bullock. It is a sin offering for the congregation. When a ruler hath sinned and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord his God.
So this is a ruler. So this would be a king, but this wouldn't just be a king, because kings weren't the only rulers. You had governors, you had princes of the tribes, heads of the fathers, chief people amongst all the tribes, right? Judges, things of that nature. They would be considered rulers. So this would go to them, right? Read on.
It says,
prominent people, leadership amongst Israel. Go ahead.
When a ruler has sinned and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord his God concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty, or if his sin wherein he hath sinned come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish.
See that? So, but he's held to a standard, but that's not as high as a bullock. Not as serious as an animal as a bullock, right? So we see a priest is held to a higher standard than the average ruler, right? Read on.
It says, or if it's in verse 24, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat and kill it in the place where they kill the burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering. And he shall burn all his fat upon the altar, as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and he shall be forgiven him. Notice
it don't get sprinkled 7 times. Notice this is a different ritual now, showing you that the standard is different, right? But again, I want to reemphasize now, a priest's sin is as bad as the sin of the whole nation. And there's really a reason for that. Hold that Malachi 2.
That's all I was thinking.
Boom. It's showing you that the tribe of Levi, and by extension now, with the Levitical priesthood, being a thing that is limited to functionality that occurs within the physical temple in Israel, which is currently not standard, but now us being under and functioning under the Melchizedekite, a spiritual priesthood, order reestablished by Hamashiach Yahushua, it is to us now in this truth that's preaching this word. It's extended to you, right? Our sin is almost as bad as the whole nation's. Just us doing one thing is almost as bad as the entire nation doing something, right? Because we know better, right? Just at that time, Levi, we were the ones that knew better and the ones that were supposed to bring that word. So when we would mess up, it would be as bad as the whole nation messing up, because it could potentially lead to the whole nation messing up. So all of us that are teachers now, we are held to that standard, man. Right? You're the point,
yeah,
officer?
Man, when you go into, I think it's 2 Maccabees, it was a trader. I think his name was Jason. Was it Jason? It was basically
nigga, Jason.
It was someone who they thought would never do no wrong because he come from the seed of Aaron, and so they looked at him like that.
Like you there's no way he could ever have ill intentions towards us. Basically,
Yeah, I don't gotta get it. Y'all can read that though. This is Malachi 2:7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth.
You're supposed to be able to seek the law at a priest's mouth, right? So every Levite you're supposed to be able to go to them, and he tells you right from wrong according to the will of the Most High, right? But now that's something that's applicable to all of us. Everybody in the truth that's preaching this word on the street corners doing what we're supposed to do, we all have to be able to do that, right? We all do. Go ahead. And then when you deal with, hierarchical organizational structure in each camp, the higher the rank goes, the more is put on you, the more responsibility you have, right? Because we have brothers in our camp, and these brothers have to know something, but if they don't know something, they're going to ask the brother over them, and eventually it's going to come all the way up the ladder to me, so I better know it, right? But whether if I happen to be a Levite, but if I wasn't a Levite, I was another tribe, I would still have to know. So it's showing you that by extension, under the order of Melchizedek, this is applicable to everybody in this truth teaching, right? Read on.
It says, for he is the messenger of Yahweh of hosts.
Exactly. So as the messengers of Yahweh, your job is to not mess up. And if you do mess up, it's as bad as everybody else messing up, right? So not that there's not an atonement for your pitfalls. There are going to be pitfalls. We're not going to just have this perfect peachy walk. That's not what this thing is about, bro. So you're going to mess up, and it's bad when you do mess up, but you still can come back from it. There still is a way out, and that's through the sacrifice. Now we don't have that standing temple to execute that sacrifice, so our sacrifice is one, Hamashiach on the cross, but also presenting our bodies as living sacrifices, right? That's what a lot of these guys don't know about. I challenge all these guys that come against us in the camps that teach on these streets. I want you to go and ask them niggas how they present their bodies as living sacrifices.
That's right.
Y'all seen this? Some of the clips came out with Eric Mason. I want y'all to understand something. The spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And not to boast, but we was on that street. We was on them streets for 10 hours on Thursday. That's not even our regular. We still got to go out tomorrow and put hours in through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which we're looking forward to. But we was out there for 10 hours. My body was beat down. I'm still tired from Thursday on the streets, right? We present our bodies as living sacrifices. What are these niggas doing? And we doing it gladly. Why are we doing it? Because we know we have sins to atone for. And really, that ain't even honestly Noah Novik, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah, all praises. The water. But in truth, sins that we have to atone for are partial motivation, but they're not even. They're not. To me, it's not even second. The primary motivation is the love of the Most High in my nation, bro. Like I really want Israel to wake up. So that's really my primary motivation. And then getting blood off our hands and atoning for sins, that's great too. Yeah. But that's not even the main motive. The motivation is waking Jake up, you know? But go ahead.
Yeah, that's why we even brought it out yesterday. The scripture, I think it's like Isaiah. It's in the book of Isaiah, I know, in latter chapters, where it says, hear ye the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at the word of the Lord. You have to have a fear of the Lord to go out there into the highways and byways. Because, like the brother was bringing out, of course, wanting to atone for our past sins is definitely inspiration for us to go out there and gives us the want and desire to go out there. But it's a culmination of that, the love for our people, the love for the Most High God. So all those things coupled together, how can you not get up off your ass and go to the street corners, man? That's just crazy to me. That's so crazy. I would be so scared that the Most High was going to judge me if I didn't do what he commanded us to do. But I wanted to get that scripture. It's not Jason, it's Alchemist. That's what it was.
That nigga.
Alchemist. This is
that evil Haitian.
Yeah,
go ahead.
First Maccabees 7 and 14. It says, For said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong. That's what they thought. They thought since he was a Levite, specifically from the seed of Aaron, that he wasn't going to do him no wrong.
Because he knows better. Who knows better than him? No. And here's the thing, because when you deal with Aaron, right, we know Aaron is a man. And then we have the Aaronite priesthood, which is essentially the priesthood within the priesthood, because all the Levites are priests, but the descendants of Aaron, the clan or the family of Aaron, are the high priest, right? So then we have to deal with the office of Aaron. The office of Aaron, the word Aaron in the Hebrew, Aharon rather, means ark, right? Ark. So what goes in the Ark of the Covenant is the law. So basically, an Aaronite priest is somebody who the law is stored in. The whole law is within this person. They know it. It's in it. You can never fail asking this person about the Torah because it's stored inside of this person. That's the whole purpose of the Aaronite. Being an Aaronite means the law is stored in you, right? So, of course, this dude, he knows the laws better than anybody. How can he come and do something unlawful to us? So and then the fact that you do that you do something that wicked and evil, that it's even worse than somebody who don't know no better or don't know as well as you. Like right now, if I was to go walk to the store, number one, it's the Sabbath, right? If I was to go walk to the store right now and buy a pack of Newports and smoke it, that's worse than a nigga on the street that's been in the truth for a decade smoking a cigarette. He don't know that, right? Or even if he knows it's bad and wrong, he's going through a metamorphosis himself and he's not there yet. First of all, I never smoked cigarette. I never been a cigarette smoker. And I never just was a nigga that went to the store and bought a pack of cigarettes even before the truth. So for me to turn to that on the Sabbath, no less, which was dealing with me leaving my quarters, me making a purchase, then me putting something with pork in the damn butt to my lip, right? Then lighting a fire on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
We're talking about sin upon sin.
Define the temple.
Define all of these things, right? If I do that at this point in my life, knowing what I know, all right, not saying I'm an Aaronite, but I'm confident in the law is majority stored in me. I would be an evil nigga, and that is as bad as a whole gang of people doing something wrong. Yeah. That's what we're seeing clearly demonstrated in the law, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, it says, God, man, I can't stand it when I keep forgetting Bible verses, but there's a scripture that says that one of the things that the Most High hates and makes him super angry is a righteous man that turns from his righteousness. That's in Sirach. That's in Sirach, actually. I'll try to find that, but anyway, Sirach, or Leviticus chapter 5, let's see, where do we leave off? Or chapter 4, verse, I'm going to just start at verse 28. It says, if his sin which he hath sinned come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which he hath sinned. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood thereof with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto Yahweh. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. And if he bring a lamb for a sin offering, he shall bring it a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay it for a sin offering in the place where they kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat of the lamb is taken away from the sacrifice of the peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto Yahweh. And the priest shall make an atonement for his skin that he hath given, that he hath committed, and it shall be forgiven him.
Go ahead.
Chapter 5. This is Leviticus 5:1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing, and is a witness,
right? Read.
Whether he hath seen or known of it.
So a witness, you have, just like you have sources, you have primary sources, and then you have secondary sources. Primary sources, essentially an eyewitness, right? So if you saw it, if you saw this sin, or you heard about it, you know about it, meaning you heard from somebody who's seen it, or it's the word around town. What are you supposed to do in this instance? Right? Read on.
It says, or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
Then he shall bear his. If you don't say nothing about it, then you're as guilty. You're gonna bear the iniquity of the individual who is the perpetrator here. So, for example, I mean, if we just, and this is why the law is so important. It's why Christians hate it so much, right? Child molestation, rape is huge in the black church. Sirach 26 and 28. That's what you're looking
I'm holding
okay,
it right
that's spiritual.
I got it right now.
Right? It's huge in the black church. This is not a secret. I don't understand why there's not more of an initiative to combat that than the Hebrew Israelites by Eric Mason and his counterparts. It's huge in the black church, right? And people hear about it. You hear whispers, but they never say anything. If they were following the law, which tells us this, it would not spread on the epidemic level that it has in the black churches, because as soon as you heard the rumor that somebody was touching somebody, you would bring that to the forefront. You would go to the people who were in charge of judging the situation, and they would make inquisition, and an investigation would be launched, a probe, and we would find out if it was so, and if it's so, judgment is getting enacted. That's how beautiful the Torah law is. It gives us this. But they teach you to hate something that tells me that if I hear a rumor that somebody is being molested, I have to say something. The same place that the rumor circulates and everyone knows what's going on, but nobody does anything. And now you got a 35-year-old broken human being that was touched for 15 consecutive years at a place where he was supposed to be getting in tune with God. Yeah. The white man is the devil. Yeah. Because he's the one that taught these Negroes this form of Christianity. And this form of Christianity is utilized to gatekeep blacks and Hispanics. It's utilized to forcibly control blacks and Hispanics and keep us within the cycle that is self-destructive. The Christian church is the first institution that upholds the self-destruction of the black and Latino man and Native Indian. Period. This is just one of a laundry list of examples, right? So go ahead.
This is that Sirach verse I was talking about, Sirach 26 and 28. There be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by. And one that returneth from righteousness to sin, the Lord prepares such an one for the sword.
Nothing is worse than a man that leaves off from being righteous and goes into sin. That's one of the worst things in the world. Because as the saying goes, if you knew better, you do better. So you know better. So there's no reason you should do anything short of better. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 2. Or if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of an unclean cattle, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and if it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean and guilty. Mm-hmm. Or if he touch the uncleanness of men, whatsoever uncleanness it be, that a man shall be defiled withal, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty.
When you learn of it, now you're guilty. What does that mean? Damn, okay, I was unclean. Okay, I need to go through the proper protocol to get clean again. Because as soon as you know, you have knowledge of that sin, you're guilty, right? You know it, so you have to do what you have to do. But if you never know, that's why there's something called Day of Atonement and things like that atone for things that you do in ignorance. Right? Read on. What verse was what? Sirach 26 and 28. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. It says, or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatsoever it be that a man shall pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty in one of these. Mm-hmm. And he shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these things, that he shall confess that he has sinned in that thing.
He confess his sins, right? Read on.
And he shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahweh for his sin, which he has sinned. A female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats, for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. Mm-hmm. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring forth for his trespass which he hath committed 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons unto Yahweh, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck, but shall not divide it asunder. And real quick too, Slaka, I'm noticing something. Man, the Christian church always talking about how, you can't keep the law, don't do it's a burden, things of that nature. I mean, keeping the law could really save you a lot of money is what it sounds like, because when you give these offerings, you got to go and get those animals. You see what I'm saying? So if you just didn't sin, you wouldn't have to spend money doing all that.
Yeah, spend it or use the ones that's on your own, on your land that you would use, that you could use for food or for other purposes. You wouldn't have to be going to get them killed, So that's a good point. But go ahead.
It says, and he shall bring.
And it saves you money in this day and age.
Yeah.
Trust me, you start checking them damn tags on them clothes that you want to buy, and you find out that they mix fabric. You understand you can't wear them, and that's money in the pocket. Right, that's 20, 30, for some of y'all, $100, $200, $300 garment. When I say garment, I mean piece of clothing, not like an Israelite garment. That you would have purchased, that you didn't purchase. I remember, man, I told Shamar, man, I said, damn, man, I went to the store. I only got found maybe like 2 items. So there was a lot of other items I liked, but they were, they were mingled fabric. I couldn't get them. I just realized I saved a lot of money. Saved a lot of money doing that, man. All right, keeping these laws. Not buying on the Shabbat. That's 24 hours where you're not spending money. So what are you doing 24 hours you're not spending? You're saving money. Because if you weren't in the truth, you weren't keeping that law, that would be a 24-hour period where you'd be liable to spend money. You could blow all your money in that 24 hours, but instead you kept it. Right? So go ahead.
Come. It says, and he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first.
David, nothing in the law, I repeat, nothing, no, not one thing in the law is done away with. Nothing in the law is done away with. Yahweh Shai makes his whole what you got. Matthew 5:19.
It's the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
So he's 18 I want? That's what I want, yeah.
Matthew chapter 5 verse 18.
Uh-huh.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
Not what Yahweh Shai said, nothing passed from the law. Not one thing until heaven and earth pass. Right? Keep going.
Till all be fulfilled.
Till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth passing. You can read it in Revelation. What is it, 22 or 21? 21, where it's talking when the kingdom is established. That's when heaven and earth pass. I mean, when there's Yahweh Shai's rulership is established on earth. So nothing is passed from the law. Dealing with sacrifice, it's prophesied that the temple would fall. Matter of fact, give me just Daniel 9, just the sacrifices cease. I don't want to go too deep into it, but just the sacrifices cease. Right? It's a part of the prophecy.
Daniel chapter 9, I think it's like 26. No, it's 27. Okay, Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease.
So like you, so hold on. So as we can see here in the prophecy, the sacrifice ceased. It was prophesied that was going to happen. So what happened in the Most High, already laying out that the sacrifice would cease, offered Yahweh Shai to be a sacrifice for us, right? And then we present our bodies as a living sacrifice also. So Yahweh Shai, belief in him, is your sacrifice. You don't have a standing temple to sacrifice, so your sacrifice is now through faith in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai and presenting your body as a living sacrifice through keeping these laws, through teaching on the streets, etc. Right? So that's how you're sacrificing, because you do not have a temple to sacrifice in. When we get back in the kingdom, we'll be sacrificing again. Right? So the law of sacrifice is not done away with, but we do not have the ability to sacrifice because we don't have a temple to sacrifice in. We don't have Aaronic high priest standing in the temple to kill animals. We're not even in the place where the Lord commanded us to build a temple. We're eating our bread defiled amongst the heathen right now. So that's why we're not sacrificing. And our sacrifice now is through faith in Yahweh Shai. Okay. Oh, Zabah Yabban Loya Shalom Yahbashim Yashabakata. That's why our sacrifice again is through faith in Yahweh Shai and through our own body's presentation. So go ahead.
All right. Leviticus chapter 5 and now verse where are we at? Okay, verse 9. It says, and he shall it says verse 8, and he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck, but shall not divide it asunder. And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering.
Arctic P, number one, the Bible doesn't say honor your family. It certainly says honor your father and mother. Arctic P, you don't do anything different than you already do. You just live your life how you live it. You just don't do anything that's unlawful. All right. Is it against the law for you to sit on the couch and talk to your damn Edomite uncle and watch the game with him? No. All right. Some Israelites may look down on you for it, but there's not like a law against it, bro. So it's not like super. Like when you come into this truth, you understand that God hates white people. And you should, logically hate white people, but it doesn't mean like you just are at odds and have animosity and can't, civilly behave yourself around white folks, Edomites. Just, for the record. 1 Timothy 4:13. I would say through, you know, donating to camps and congregations and things of that nature. You know, you could have a specific one. You could spread it out. There's nothing wrong with either, but that's how I would say in practice would be the best. You know, the principle of sowing seeds, not like in the Christian way, like, oh, bro, if you, hey, bro, send SICARRI 200, and the Lord is gonna give you $200,000. But you know, just giving out. You know, and you know, the Most High loves a cheerful giver. So that's just written. So, you know, give free will, again, like we read in Leviticus 4, free will, give according to how you're compelled. And, you know, it is what it is. And you see what the Most High does, you know, in response. You know, I got certain people that I make sure I'm, boom, just on a basis of principle of sowing seed and giving, you know, offering, you know what I'm saying? All in the name of the Most High and Yahushua, right? So that's what I would say. Tell them they the devil that the Bible speaks. Well, certainly tell them that, because I'm gonna tell them that. All right, I know I myself have certainly informed many white people. I know they're the devil. You know what I'm saying? But if you're like worried about, okay, I stay with, you know, a couple Edomite family members, if that's your disposition, you know, navigate how you got to navigate. Do the same thing you got to do at the job, bro. You know, some brothers is more hardcore than that, and that's great. But there's nothing wrong with either, right? You do what you got to do. But go ahead.
Come. Verse 10, and he shall offer the second for a burnt offering according to the manner, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin which he hath sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. Mm-hmm. But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he that sins shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin, that he hath sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him, and the remnant shall be the priest as a meat offering.
And the remnant shall what?
Be the priest.
So as a what?
As a meat offering.
So part of your meat offering is on the plate of a priest. Okay, so all that animal all the time is not getting burnt or killed, or, you know, I mean, it's getting killed, of course, but it's not always getting burnt up. Sometimes some of them offerings, the Levitical priest is taking and eating it, and his family is eating it. That's what you call the most holy things. So that's part of the way how the priest was fed, through eating of the sacrifices, right? So read on.
Verse 14, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul commit a trespass and sin through ignorance in the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring for his trespass unto Yahweh a ram without blemish out of the flocks, with that estimation by shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary for a trespass offering.
After the shekel of the sanctuary, right? What does that mean? That the monetary value of our shekels was determined by what was in our treasury, which was the temple shekel, right? The storehouse and the treasury. So just like how America used to, they don't currently, everything is a promissory note, a Federal Reserve note now, but it used to be predicated upon something called the golden standard. So the American dollar was worth $1 of gold, which was a measurement of gold. Just in that same way, that's how a just currency is supposed to be. When you don't have that, it's called an unjust weight or an abominable weight, which is spoke about in Proverbs 11. But how a just currency system and a just nation establishes their currency is the monetary value of their shekels is determined by the amount of gold, silver, etc. that they have in their temple, right? So that's how we used to do it. It's called the temple shekel. What's your opinion in the issue with, I mean, that nigga's a demon.
Yeah.
You know? So quite frankly, he's getting what's coming to him. And I predict much worse.
Far worse.
As it is written. But go ahead.
It says, after the shekel of the sanctuary for a trespass offering, and he shall make amends for the harm that he had done in the holy thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest.
Which a 5th part is 20%, so 20% of the monetary value of what you're offering needs to be offered to the priest. Messiah Price, you're exactly right. We next with Farrakhan and Alex Jones being kicked off Facebook. Trust and believe. We're next. So we need to get ahead of the curve in finding alternative. I believe matter of fact, a sister from HOI is actually building an Israelite social media. So what we need to do is, I'm gonna talk to the brothers. We might go by their camp tomorrow, Atlanta, because we need to get ahead of that. While we're still allowed to be on Facebook, we need to be promoting this and getting our people over there, because we're getting ready to be out of here, out of Facebook. Maybe YouTube, they might get us off of all conventional means of social media. So we need alternatives that we control. That we should have not been so comfortable sitting on the cracker stuff and been for a building and fortifying this whole time under their nose. So when the time comes to switch, we make the clean transition. So we need to start now. Read.
It says, after the shekel of the sanctuary for a trespass offering.
For the record, Branch, no one can become a Hebrew Israelite. You either are by birth or you're not. Like an officer side, can a kangaroo become a salmon? Never. It can't happen. Right?
I try to just think of the two most random animals. But verse 16, and he shall make amends for the harm that he had done in the holy thing, and shall add the fifth part thereto, and give it unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And if a soul sin and commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of Yahweh, though he wish it not, yet is he guilty, and shall bear his iniquity. And he shall bring, so if you do something, actually it doesn't matter, you still are guilty of it.
Like you didn't mean to do it. Like, damn. You just woke up and you totally forgot it was Shabbat and you bought something. You're like, damn. Trust me, I'm going to tell y'all something. Last year, what happened to me last year, right? Right before we moved to Texas. And I needed this money for the move, right? Part of it. So that's how I was there. I remember when we first moved, I was real tight because of this, right? So I woke up and I was like, damn, I needed some shampoo. My shampoo was out. So I was like, okay, boom, I hopped in the car and I went and bought, went to the beauty supply and got some shampoo. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot, I'm like, what the I'm just cursing myself. I'm like, well, what the hell is wrong with you? Totally just slipped my mind. It was the Lord's Holy Sabbath, right? For, a $7 bottle of shampoo or whatever. 48 hours later, I got pulled over, driving without a license and speeding. Had to pay probably $500 in a ticket for a $7 bottle of, Most High came and got me quick. And that was $500 I needed because we were doing a cross-country move. You know what I'm saying? But something like that is, even though I didn't intentionally in my mind define, I wasn't going, okay, it's the Sabbath, I'm still going to go buy the shampoo. It didn't even occur to me that it was. And then after I did it, it was. So I know I didn't mean to sin, but I still sinned. Yeah. So I was still guilty. So I still had to get punished. I still had to bear my iniquity. See what I'm saying? Go ahead. Bostic, I'm not sure. Deacon mostly handles the email. So if you send an email, that he'll get back to you. So yeah, Deacon is over the email department. So go ahead.
Verse 18, and he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance wherein he erred and wist it not, and it shall be forgiven him. It says, it is a trespass offering. He hath certainly trespassed against Yahweh. Through 6. Okay, this is Leviticus 6:1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or hath deceived his neighbor, or hath found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it.
So basically, you give me something to hold, and I lie to you about what happened to it, or how much of it, or I found something that you lost, right? I can't deceive you that I can't say I didn't find it, or just not say nothing if I found it. This is beautiful laws, but how can you hate this?
Yeah, this is what.
How can this be a burden?
No, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
How? We got to start. What I'm gonna do is we need to get a whole list of laws and go. Okay, so this is a burden, bro.
Right.
Damn, that's crazy. So if you lose 100, I can't even I shouldn't tell you, right? It's a burden for me to tell you that I found your $100 lost. You devils. Go ahead.
Well, there's not only do they say it's a burden, but there's a specific word that they use that
Bondage.
No, that's what it is. Bondage.
It's slavery.
An unbearable yoke. That's what I'm looking for.
It's an unbearable yoke to give somebody $100 back that they lost and you found.
Or how about, bro? I got a perfect one. How about how we're supposed to set aside certain stuff to feed the poor and to feed the
it's a burden feeding the poor.
It's a that's something. Wow, that's evil. No, I'm thinking of the about the man. It's about how you're supposed to let your something grow, like your vineyards grow, so it's
basically like a welfare system.
Yeah, exactly. That's burdensome. Feeding disenfranchised people, poor and widows, it's a burden. It's an unbearable yoke. That's cool. Leviticus 6 and read verse 2 again, the 3 again rather. Or have found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it, and sweareth falsely, and any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein, then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered to him to keep, or the lost thing which he found, or all that about which he hath sworn falsely, he shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the fifth part more thereto.
So you restore 100% of whatever the monetary value of it is, and then you add an additional 20%, right? Read.
And give it unto him to whom it appertaineth.
Micaiah, we got videos on that, so just look up any of our videos dealing with the Christians on the law, any of our recent interactions with the Christians, and you get understanding on how to cut that nonsense. Well, actually, to just be honest, with Matthew 15, you just deal with, tell them go in context. It has nothing to do with pork. It has to do with eating with unwashed hands, not eating unclean food, right? So tell them stay in context. They're ripping it, just like Acts 10 has nothing to do with food, but they try to use it as a justification to eating unclean foods. And then but they told Peter to eat, but he didn't eat. Right?
Yeah. Start at verse 2. All right.
That's it. Right. That's a quick fix, but go ahead.
It says, to whom it appertaineth in the day of his trespass offering. Verse 6. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahweh, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he had done in trespassing therein. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering. It is the burnt offering because of the burning upon the altar all night unto the morning. And the fire of the altar shall be burning in it. And the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh, and take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it; it shall not be put out. And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order upon it. And he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offering.
See, so there's just offerings that's being offered. It's always, that fire is always burning, and there's always things being offered, man. That's what you got to understand. So to think that the sacrifice is done away with, every sacrifice is not even about sin.
Yeah.
Most High just want a sweet Savior sometimes. So all these things are there for the Most High. So know that it's not done away with, right? So go ahead.
It says, and he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offerings. It says, the fire shall ever be burning upon the altar; it shall never go out. Mm-hmm. And this is the law of the meat offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it before Yahweh, before the altar. And he shall take of it his handful of the flour of the meat offering, and of the oil thereof, and all the frankincense which is upon the meat offering, and shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor, even the memorial of it unto the Lord. And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat with unleavened bread.
Right. So whatever they eat with unleavened bread. So the priest would be dealing with unleavened bread, not exclusively unleavened bread, but eating unleavened bread all year long. Right? Read on.
It says, with unleavened bread shall it be eaten in the holy place, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation they shall eat it. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it unto them for their portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy, as is the sin offering, and as the trespass offering.
Which also, unleavened bread is symbolic of just commandments, right? It's the same word in the Hebrew, unleavened bread and commandment, same word. So the eating of that had a symbolic implication of just do what I command, right? That's why Yahweh Shai said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. He's showing you that they're adding to the commandments with their tradition. Us eating, as priests, us eating that unleavened bread is showing we just doing exactly what Yahweh said, right? Read on.
All the males among the children of Aaron shall eat of it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings of Yahweh made by fire. Every one that toucheth them shall be holy. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This is the offering of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer unto the Lord in the day when he is anointed. The 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meat offering perpetual, half of it in the morning and half thereof at night. In a pan it shall be made with oil, and when it is baking, thou shalt bring in it. Thou shalt bring it in, and the baking pieces of the meat offering shalt thou offer for a sweet savor unto the Lord. And the priest of his sons that is anointed in his stead shall offer it. It is a statute forever unto the Lord. It shall be wholly burnt. For every meat offering for the priest shall be wholly burnt. It shall not be eaten. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying.
So there's some that we got to burn the whole animal, and sometimes we sacrifice and burn part of it. The other part of it we take and eat. Right? Read on.
This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed, shall the sin offering be killed before Yahweh. It is most holy. The priest that offereth it for sin shall eat it. In the holy place shall it be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation. Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in the holy place. But the earthen vessel wherein is sodden shall be broken, and if it be sodden in a brassen pot, it shall be both scored and rinsed in water. All the males among the priests shall eat thereof, it is most holy. And no sin offering, whereof any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of the congregation to reconcile withal in the holy place, shall be eaten. It shall be burnt in the fire.
Was that on 6?
It's on 6.
Yeah. So with that, what do we got? We got closing. We'll start with Amolium.
Still waiting for a Greek, Matthew.
Still. All right, Salakia. So now let's do it. All right. We'll say the Imolium prayer, right? As according to the commandment of Mashiach Yahushua. All right. Abanawa. Yahweh. Adawan Kutazayar. Bahashem Mashiach Yahushua. Babakusha. Nabai Imolium. Nabai Rab Imolium. Kutazayar Dekha. Yam Yeshai. Yasharahla. Babakusha. Abanawa Yahweh. Bahashem Mashiach Yahushua. The Wada month. And our morning prayer for the translation is, Our Father Yahweh, Lord of harvest, in the name of your anointed Yahweh Shai, please send laborers, send many laborers for the harvest. Hasten the day of salvation for Israel. Please, 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 our Father Yahweh, in the name of the anointed Yahweh, shall I thank you, amen. All right, so now we're going to say our other closing prayers here. First give thanks for the Shabbat. So, Thawada Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Barakah, Shabbat. All right, now we're going to put the curses up. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Shalak Rayam, Wa Anashim, Wa Abayim, Wa Haragim, Wa Mashapayim, Al Call, Adawamyam, Wa Gawayam, Wa Ayabyam Nawa, Babakusha, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, the water Aman. All right, so that's our closing prayers. So Shabbat Shalom again, Ashar Kadash. To everybody out there, look out for we got 7 degrees real quick. Let me plug that. For tonight briefly. We got this documentary coming. You know, we just did the Guerrilla Hebrew Homecoming documentary a few weeks ago through the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. So it was, it went over well, man. And I'm thankful that the Most High magnified it, and y'all received it as an expanded testimony of myself. This is gonna be similar. It's called 7 Degrees, and it's myself and Soldier Danyala of the San Diego SICARRI camp. It's gonna be a interesting and deep story, and it's just showing you the magnificence of the Most High Yahweh, man. I'm gonna just tell you that now, and the grace of Him that we received through His Son of Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Like, seriously, man. Me and this brother, we had before coming to this truth. I'm gonna just tell you, we crossed paths a lot of times, but not fully, right? And if we would have, it could have been detrimental, just to be in all honesty. So y'all see that story expounded on through the Spirit. If you check it out, that's tonight, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, 7 Degrees, right here on youtube.com/SICARRI. Man, check this out. We got more. Most High will. We got more documentaries coming, man. I got a lot of stuff festering in my brain through the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. I want to get a lot more brothers involved, just do a lot and have testimony. So, it can serve as an example to YASHARAHLA. Show a lot of us that we're not alone, man. All of us is going through something similar. We're all subjugated to the curses, and we all have turned our life to righteousness, so we all can do it. All right, there's nothing special about us that makes us better than any other Israelite. That means they can't turn. We all come from something. So we're gonna expound on that in this. Look, here go Danyali, Shabbat Shalom, soldier. So yeah, I'm just trying to plug our documentary that's dropping tonight through the Spirit. So yeah, everybody check that out, man. It's a powerful story, and it's crazy, man. It's gonna blow a lot of people's mind. It blows me and this brother mind, and all the time, and we know about it, we lived it. So man, make sure y'all check this out through Spirit and Power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. So with that, again, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatham Wa Ashar Kadash Wa Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and we out.